Okay, guys, I think enough people have joined. We can now begin with the session. So, I welcome you all to our event on cracking international placements. So, to give a bit of introduction on all of our panelists, I'll begin with Mr. Rahul Rana. He secured 1.2 crore package for Amazon Dublin. To give you a short idea about what he did as an intern, he worked as Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador in 2021. He was also Google Developer Student Club Mentor in 2020. Our next panelist is Mr. Arijit Kundu. He also secured a 1.2 crore package in Amazon Dublin. He worked as a technical consultant intern in Microsoft in 2022. And he was also a Google Summer of Code 2021 finalist. The next panelist is Miss Shreya Singh. She also secured a 1.2 crore package in Google London. She was also a Microsoft Engage mentee in 2021. She's also a summer analyst for Goldman Sachs. Our next panelist is Miss Preeti Priya. She's an incoming cybersecurity graduate in A1 UK with a package of 24.6 lakhs per annum. To give you what she did as an intern, she was a software engineer intern, cybersecurity intern in Tata Elxsi, and she also did a cybersecurity internship in COS Grid Networks. Our next panelist is Mr. Yatin Srivastav. He also secured a 1.2 crore package in Amazon Dublin. Our next panelist is Miss Priyal Bhatwara. She will be joining Amazon India as an SDE. She was also an intern in Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. She was also a mentor in Girls Script Summer of Code 2021. And our final panelist, Mr. Satyam Mishra. He will be joining MobiQuick as an SDE. He was a software development intern in Hashdin. He also interned at Cognizant and was a contributor at Girl Script Summer of Code 2021. So Saket, if you would go ahead
Okay,
with the question.
we have done the introduction, and so we'll start with our first question to all the people who cracked international placement, because a lot of audience just want to know that how did you find this opportunity, and how did you apply for this? Was it just a referral thing, or you just applied through the career page, and what was the further process like? So we will start with Shreya Didi.
Uh, yeah, sure. So, with respect to me, so I've cracked two international offers. One was Amazon Dublin, and now I'll be joining Google London. So, दोनों को I'll brief quietly. With Amazon Dublin, what happened? You have to pay like this is the part where LinkedIn becomes important. So I just saw a random post from a guy named Tuheen. He posted that he has got this offer from Amazon Dublin. So I was intrigued ki how does people get a direct offer, like just like all of you. I was also intrigued ki how does people directly get offers internationally from India. So I just had a quick chat with him, and then I got to know that you can just directly apply from the portal. What happens in international opportunities is a referral ka weightage becomes even more lesser. Okay, because in most of the international opportunities, you get the online assessment test link. You have to go through it, and like whoever clears it will move to the interview. So I don't think referral would play a great role there, because like everyone gets the test link regardless of the resume, regardless of your experience. I have seen guys with almost zero to no internship experience, with almost very basic resume, like you all would have by now, getting the test links. So that was not a problem with Amazon there. We gave the online assessments. How it differed from India, in case of Amazon, was we had two OAs. One was the normal technical wala OA, in which we had two coding questions, and then another was the SPE work simulation round. So what happens there was, we were given a virtual environment, and there we were given some co-workers, we are getting some mails. So that was sort of a virtual work setup for you. And then you had to make some decisions, like there were some data points, there were a project statement given to you, and then you had to make, like we can maybe talk about it in detail if like any of you're interested in it. So that was the process for Dublin. And then we had three consecutive round of face-to-face interviews. That was obviously happened in virtual manner in the current situation. And then we got the offer. What happened in Google London was, then again a similar thing happened. So यहाँ पर क्या हुआ कि I missed the opportunity. Like it was there in the career portal for some while. I think somewhere in the January it was posted. But yeah, I was like, just because I got the double now offer, I was confident that I'll join there. So I was not looking, I was not actively looking for more opportunities. So I missed the career portal wala time frame. It was removed from the page. But then I did get to know from some of my friends that they have got the offer in Google London. I saw some posts on the LinkedIn as well, one or two posts I saw on LinkedIn. So what I did was I filtered out almost I think 25 to 30 EMEA recruiters. Like you have to type EMEA, that stands for Europe and the Middle East wala part. And like that, those are the recruiters who are responsible for hiring in Europe specifically. So I filtered them out on LinkedIn, right? And I cold emailed almost all of them. Some of them accepted my connection request, some of them did not. But even them, like even if they do not accept your connection, you can directly send them a mail. Like there's a feature for that. Some of them allows it. Most of the recruiter actually allows it. So you can write a short paragraph about yourself. I'm this. These are my previous experiences, and like this is my resume. And I've got to know that you're hiring for this role. So like if you have any left position or any suitable position, or if you could connect to any of the, also like you have to search for keywords like early career recruiter. I mean, you should not specifically target the senior level recruiters because they might get pissed off by your random messages. So try to shortlist the early recruiters. Like these are terms like this: graduate hiring recruiters, graduate recruiters, these kind of recruiters. And then I cold emailed all of them, and just one of them replied. Actually, just one of them out of I think 25. One of them fortunately replied, and then I had a call with him, a 15 minutes call. We discussed my background and everything, and then he found me a good fit. So we moved forward with the process. So in Google London process, very briefly, there was one phone screen round, and then you have to go through four technical, proper DSA based technical rounds and one Googliness round. So how it differs in India is, in India we just have three technical rounds, but in London you have to give four because like they have the headquarters and everything there. So like they take 4 rounds of interview there.
Okay, same question for Arijit.
मेरे को एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है श्रेया दीदी से
We have
श्रेया दीदी
Questions?
आपका जो
Ritesh.
श्रेया दीदी आपका जो मतलब मैं पूछ लूं
We'll have the audience question in the last. Can you please wait for the interview? Okay, same question for Darijit. How did you find this opportunity and how did you apply for it? And
Yeah,
what was
sure.
the further process?
So Amazon Dublin was the fourth international company which I interviewed for. Before that, I like first gave interviews of Amazon Luxembourg in probably September, October. At that time, the role was software development engineer. Same, it was like there were two online tests, and after which there were three consecutive rounds of interviews. Those interviews like comprised mainly about DSA and object-oriented design questions. Unfortunately, I got rejected with that, so I like had a 6 months cool down period. So after which like in September, October, I gave the interviews of Amazon Luxembourg. Then I also applied to Facebook London. I basically I applied with referral for three positions, which are software engineer at London, Facebook front end engineer at London, as well as enterprise engineer at Singapore. So the rest of the two options, like the enterprise engineer at Singapore and the software engineer at London, my resume could not get shortlisted. But for the role of front end engineer at Facebook, my resume got shortlisted, and it was like I gave five. There were total number of five interviews. First, it was like a technical phone screen round in which a recruiter will just it was just of 15-20 minutes in which recruiter will ask you about JavaScript questions. And the main thing about the Facebook front-end engineer role is that they do not ask you a single DSA question. The questions are like DSA, but more towards not like a lead code based, but more towards front-end implementations. Like they will give you questions like implement X feature in JavaScript. So there were like four rounds. There were in total five rounds. First was the recruiter call. Second was on like a phone screen round in which it was of 45 minutes. And afterwards there were three on-sites, virtual on-sites. And in virtual on-sites there were two technical again and one behavioral round. So at March around, again I got rejected after like giving all the rounds of interviews of Facebook. I got rejected. Then also meanwhile I have also applied to multiple startups. Like there are also FANGs which are hiring in Europe. Other than that, there are also unicorn startups over there like Zalando, Berlin, Klarna, in which I also interviewed. I gave one round of interview of Zalando, but meanwhile, since I got selected in Amazon Dublin, so I like called off from the process. Amazon Dublin, like my role was again front end engineer. It was like the role of front end engineer at Amazon interviews is very vague, since like it might depend upon the interviewer that what he or she wants to ask. So my rounds made there were like again two online tests and three on interviews which were consecutive on a single day, 3 hours interviews. And first round was a front end JavaScript related round in which I was asked to make a front end component, and the other two rounds were totally DSA based. And then afterwards I got the offer from Amazon Dublin. So talking about these four, comparing like all these four, in Amazon I did not apply with referral, but in Meta, in Facebook, it was a must to apply with referral to get shortlisted.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'd like to know how was your interview experience and how many rounds were there in your interview and how many questions were there in each round and what was the difficulty level compared to the interviews that happened for the domestic placements. Uh,
Definitely. So yeah.
okay,
So the basic difference between Amazon India and Amazon Dublin or any Amazon Europe positions is that all the three round of like online interviews happen on a consecutive day, whereas in Amazon India it's like a more or less like a knockout, where like you will have to give a first round of interview, and then afterwards 1 2 or probably 3 weeks after they will tell you the result of the first interview and then probably schedule the second interview. Whereas in Amazon Europe positions, they're all consecutive. No matter how bad or good you give the interviews of first, you will be able to sit on the three interviews which are consecutive in a single day. And like one of the other difference was that in Amazon Europe positions, they like aggressively ask you about leadership principle questions. So the ratio of leadership principle versus the technical was like the leadership principle went for around 20 to 25 minutes first, and then they were asking us a DSA question or it was a front end question. So it was divided into half actually. Whereas in India, Amazon like Bangalore, Hyderabad positions, it is more or less completely technical.
okay, same question for Yatan. Yeah.
I'm audible. Hello. Hello.
Hello, yes, you're audible.
Okay. So yeah, I applied for Amazon Dublin position from Amazon career site only because all the national and domestic and international offers are listed on the same website, the career website of Amazon. Not for Amazon, but there are many companies. All the offers are listed on the same website, so one can go and check out whether one position is similar to his or her expertise or not, and he or she can apply. So I searched for the graduate positions, and also Shreya helped me a lot. She told me about this position, so I went to the career website and searched for this position. So there were three, four positions open for Australia, Luxembourg, Dublin, and one more. I don't really remember that, like the country. So I applied for Luxembourg and Dublin for SD and got the OA link for Amazon Dublin. And also I applied for the front end engineer Amazon Dublin, but unfortunately I got rejected. So, when I applied after 7 or 10 days, I got the assessment link, and then there was a behavior. Then there was a SD simulation round. So, and after that, I got my interviews scheduled, and all the interviews, there were three interviews, and all of them were on the same day. Like there was a spree of interviews of 3.5 hours, like continuously, like Arjit told. So, yeah, that was pretty much. And after like 10 days, I got my offer letter rolled out.
Okay, so we all know that for the interviews we all have to prepare for the DSA. So, but what is the importance of the core subjects like system design, OS, and DBMS in clearing different rounds and online assessments, specifically for the international placements? We'll start with Rahul. Bhaiya.
No particular system design questions were asked And I know there's a lot of hype in India regarding all of these concepts like operating systems and system design. But none of these questions were asked by me, and I've talked to a dozen of people. Neither were they asked from them. So that's not an issue. I think in Europe it's pretty much chill. They have a quite a realistic expectation of what a graduate should know, and it was quite straightforward if you know DSA and leadership principles well.
Okay, same question for Priyal Didi.
Yeah, so actually, I wasn't asked any questions based on system design. I didn't have any round. It's like company specific. Cause some companies do ask, like they do have a certain round specific to low level design or high level design, but Amazon doesn't have that. And yeah, CS fundamentals might be asked. They were not asked from me in any of my rounds. I had 3 rounds of interviews. All three were majorly focused on DSA, and and a major focus was also on leadership principles. I was not asked any CS fundamentals in Amazon, but I also hold an offer from American Express. But there, the scenario was different. I was asked so many questions based on CS fundamentals. So yeah, these are like company specific. You need to prepare well with CS fundamentals with your OOPS, OS, DBMS concepts. Computer networks is optional. Generally, computer networks are not asked. But yeah, you should be prepared with your CS fundamentals. They might be asked and they might not. So yeah.
Okay, so anything you all want to tell to the viewers specifically to how to prepare for these companies, like some SG sheets or some good YouTube resources from which you guys prepared, or some coding platform? Anything you'd like to add? We'll start with Shreya Didi.
Yeah, sure. So, with respect to we mentioned the computer fundamentals. So, my experience is similar to Priyal. In many companies, we are really grilled upon, especially DBMS and OS. OS is a very interesting subject, and I think all of my juniors, I would suggest you all to go through OS. It's very interesting. You get to know about how does things work in if you just not talk about just about clearing interviews, even though OS is important. So, and there are plenty of YouTube resources for that as well. We have this Unacademy special channel where we have some really great educators giving their playlist for free. I think I learned from a teacher named, I do not remember exactly. I'll have to search for it, but it was something Vishwaraya or something like that. It was an Unacademy special free YouTube channel, so they have a whole playlist for it. And even now, when I was if I talk specific to Google, obviously everybody know, be it national, be it Indian locations or international, Google would never ask you anything apart from DSA. They are very clear with. They would not ask you OS, DBMS, or anything for that matter. But then I interviewed for Uber, Dshaw, and these are companies which are great. They pay great. So deep, especially the fintech companies, they would grill you upon DBMS, and specifically, I would say SQL. They would give you complex query to write in the interview itself, in the live interviews. So yeah, Dshaw asked me that. Goldman Sachs asked me that. In Uber, I was asked operating system. Oops, so you should definitely know, because whenever you are coding, you might put something, some references or some and or something here and there, and then they would ask a question that why did you specifically write this? What are the other things? So that can anytime come up. So definitely be prepared with at least one language. Java is definitely preferable, or C++. So yeah, revising those hoops would be good. If I talk about DSA, then one channel I religiously followed was Take You Forward. I think you almost know Striver. So his content, I think, is one of the best with very less advertisement and everything. His sheet was also good. I not completely completed, but yeah, I skimmed through it. So those actually are a bit, I would not say Google level question कि yeah वो 450 questions कर लिए तो Google clear है. Like those claims would be a little false, but ठीक है. I think Amazon is like you could clear Amazon with that if you're at least you know the concepts well, and you have not just रट लिया सारी solutions. So yeah, Take You Forward, and then again Unacademy के special classes है. Those I recommend to everyone. Those are from Sanket, Pulkit Chhabra. So I think these all of these people are working in the industry. They have been through the process, and I like their teaching process very nicely. So,
Okay, same question for Satyam Bhaiya. Any resources or SD sheets you would like to add from which you prepared?
Well, I mean, as of resources, if I talk about resources, like Shreya said that if I talk about the YouTube channels that I followed, it was Take You Forward, and apart from that, the coding platforms which I practiced on was primarily LeetCode. And I mean, there are other platforms as well, such as HackerRank, CodeChef, but I didn't practice on those platforms, but it was primarily LeetCode. And there are SDE sheets as well which you can follow, like, and if you are targeting for a specific company, they are like uh, top 150 questions which are frequently asked in those companies, so you can also practice those questions as well. So and apart from that, I mean, if I talk about OS and DBMS or system design, so not all companies ask system design questions, but there are some companies, if in India, like I interviewed with Hashton, and it I mean, I was not aware of the interview pattern because I did not did prior research before interviewing, but I was asked a system design question, and it was low level design. I mean, these companies do not go for high level design because it is expected from a young from a graduate to at least know a low level design question. And like DBMS, Shreya said that some questions, some queries, complex queries can be given to you in the interview, and certain follow up questions can also be asked. So to practice SQL questions, I just did some questions from interview bit. So these were the only resources that I followed, and apart from that, I did not enroll for any course or as such that.
Okay, so same question for Arijit. Any specific resources or you followed from the YouTube or any specific courses for?
Definitely. So, like as Satyam and Shreya mentioned, the DSA, the preparation for DSA revolved around these YouTubers only. I specifically practiced from a team blind like lead code 75 questions. That was one of the resource. It like had questions of varying difficulty, and from each topics of DSA, more or less it the like the what is being asked to the candidate depends totally upon the company as well as the role you're interviewing for. For instance, like since I interviewed with Facebook doesn't even like ask you single lead code question. Like lead code doesn't even matter. DSA is important, but more or less the questions revolve around JavaScript only. They did not ask even React. And so to prepare for like Facebook front-end engineer role, there's a website known as bfe.dev website, big front-end engineer.dev website. So all the questions, Facebook. So what happens in Facebook is that for the role of software engineer, if you will sort out the top 150 frequently asked questions, it is a guaranteed that like all of the questions, like 6 to 8 questions, will be asked from there only. Similarly, for the front-end engineer role, there were probably 100 to 120 questions on the bfe.dev website, and all of the questions asked to me in for the role of front-end engineer role were exactly same from that website. And to prepare for like I did prepare for initially I used to prepare and solve lead code problems in C++, but after interviewing with Meta and with other companies, I started giving DSA rounds more in JavaScript. So to prepare JavaScript well, there are YouTubers like Akshay Saini, as well as like also there is a good website which is frontendmasters.com. If you have a GitHub student pack, you can just like easily get enrolled in that course, and it has some really great tutors to teach you concepts about front end engineering specifically. Yeah.
Okay, so uh, lastly, one question. A lot. This was one of the most asked question on the LinkedIn, and my juniors also asked me. What should be the balance between the development side and the competitive programming? Because a lot of juniors are very confused between whether they should start with development or whether they should start with competitive programming to increase their problem solving skills. So what should the students focus on? We'll start with Yatanveya.
So the question you just asked is a very debatable because it depends on the individual that what he or she likes. Like I was more into development before I started the DSA part because till my third year or I should say till my seventh semester, I was into development, attending hackathons, developing projects like from YouTube and all. And then I started the preparation for companies. Like when I came to know that there will be DSA questions apart from the development, if any company includes the development part. So I started the DSA after I started the development, because I was into more into development. So it totally depends on the individual that what he or she likes, because more or less both the things will help you in getting shortlisted, because a good development profile or a good open source profile will also help you move forward, or in getting shortlisted. And if you have a great CP profile, like if you're a great competitive coder, then also you can get shortlisted in big companies. So it's totally up to you that what you want or what you like. If you want to go with development, you can surely proceed with that, and if you want to go with DSA, you can go with that. But I should say that if you are more into development, then keep it like 70-30 or 75-25, because you should not totally alien to that topic. Because if you are so much competitive coder, like if you're so much into competitive coding, you still need to do a 30% or 25% of development, so that you will be you'll have some hands-on knowledge on that topic. So I should say the ratio would be 70-30, 70 the side you like and 30 the side you don't like. Like from my perspective.
Okay, same question for PLGT.
Yeah, like I completely agree with what Yatan said, and like I think you should not choose one side. Like there should be complete balance between both, because all the interviews that I have given, they were the mixture of what my resume contains. Like all the projects were discussed, and the focus was also on DSA. So yeah, it's again like a very subjective topic. Some companies, they just focus on DSA, like Google. All the rounds are completely focused on DSA. And when I interviewed with Amazon, like I had two rounds which were completely on DSA, and the last round, which was a bar racer round, it was more of development side. Like the discussion was more on the projects which I have made, the open source contributions that I had, and the communities that I have worked with. So it was more of that, and the DSA was less. So I think you should maintain the good balance between both. You should have at least 2 to 3 good projects to showcase on your resume. If you are enjoying problem solving more, then at least you should make 2 to 3 good projects. So yeah, that's all from my side.
Okay, same question for Arijit.
Definitely, like I completely agree with each one of them. I did not do CP at all. Since I'm more or less focused on, I balance between lead code as well as development and open source contributions whenever possible. So yeah, I think like it really depends upon the company you're targeting for, and depending upon which you can prepare accordingly.
Okay, so now we can open the questions for the audience. Whoever wants to ask can ask the question.
You can write your queries in the chat box if you want.
Yeah.
श्रेया दीदी मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है
Yeah,
कि
sure.
जो गूगल में डीएसए राउंड्स हुए 3 या 4 हुए थे तो व्हाट वाज द लेवल ऑफ द डीएसए राउंड्स लाइक व्हाट लेवल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कैन वी एक्सपेक्ट
ठीक है तो देन अगेन यार यहाँ पर एक पॉइंट क्लियर कि बीट इंडियन गूगल या फिर इंटरनेशनल गूगल द लेवल वुड डेफिनेटली बी सेम उसमें कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है बिकॉज इवन इफ यू इंटरव्यू फॉर गूगल बैंगलोर और आपने कुछ टाइम प्रेफरेंस दे रखा है कि आई वांट इट आफ्टर 7 बिकॉज लाइक मेरी इंटर्नशिप चल रही है कुछ भी तो you generally get interviews which who are from Germany or like any of the EMEA region or sometimes from USA. So even when we interview in EMEA region, the interviewers can be like it's not compulsory कि वो लंदन के हो या EMEA region के हो. So in that way, Google is very uniform in terms of that. So question level आपका same होगा. आप कहीं भी मतलब जो भी interview experience पढ़ रहे हो, so that remains same throughout. Difficulty, I would definitely say कि from like whatever companies I have interviewed for Amazon, Uber, T-Show and everything. So सबसे ज़्यादा I would definitely say TSA के terms में difficulty level Google का ज़्यादा था. Difficulty level because they expect speed from you is what like I have been rejected by Google also. I'd like to mention that during the internship season, I applied for the internship. I got the interviews, but then I performed very bad in one of the interview, and then I eventually got rejected. So like अगर ये है कि एक भी इंटरव्यू आपका खराब हो जाता है, so even though गूगल का एलिमिनेशन राउंड्स नहीं होता, you get to give all the interviews, that's a good thing. But even if you screw one of them like थोड़ा सा ज्यादा, तो like expect a rejection there then and there. So वो चीज है, but then difficulty I would say definitely above लीड कोड मीडियम, या मतलब लीड कोड मीडियम में भी यार हार्ड में भी जैसे 6 और 7 में आपका कैटेगराइज होता है लीड कोड पे, तो 7 वाला आई डोंट थिंक कोई कंपनी आपसे एक्सपेक्ट करेगा विद इन 40 मिनट्स राउंड, ठीक है। सो एंड ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको डायरेक्ट लीड कोड से क्वेश्चन मिल जाएगा, आप बाद में टाइप करोगे आपको लीड कोड में एज इट इज क्वेश्चन मिल जाएगा, वो होना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है। बट अगेन आई वुड से मैंने सीपी बहुत ही कम करी है, आई थिंक आई डिड इट फॉर 3 months. So I mean I would not anyway call myself a competitive programmer. So that I would like to say कि competitive coding I don't think कि compulsory है. DSA would suffice अगर आपको सही grasp है उसमें, सारे like क्वेश्चंस अच्छे लेवल के कर रखे हैं। आजकल जो कंपनीज मतलब गूगल ज्यादा पूछ रही है बाइनरी सर्च, मतलब लीड कोड डिस्कस पे ना आप थोड़ा सा पैटर्न ऑब्जर्व करो। लीड कोड डिस्कस पे इतने सारे रिसेंट आपके पास इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस होते हैं, एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं, एग्जैक्ट फ्लो बता दिया होता है, नीचे कमेंट्स में आपके पास सॉल्यूशंस है, एंड वहां से आई वुड से कि आपके पास चांसेस है कि आपको डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन मिल जाए। बिकॉज आप इंटरव्यूज के बाद जब क्वेश्चन सर्च करोगे तो आपको लीड कोड डिस्कस पे प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि क्वेश्चन एज इट इज मिल जाए, ऑल्दो वो लाइक लीड कोड का स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन ना हो, बट वो किसी ना किसी ने तो अपने इंटरव्यू, तो ऐसा नहीं कि रिपीट करती ही नहीं गूगल या बहुत ही यूनिक क्वेश्चंस पूछती है, ऐसा मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बिल्कुल नहीं रहा। इट वाज प्रीटी स्टैंडर्ड। मेरे से जो क्वेश्चंस पूछे थे, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द टॉपिक्स, एक यूनियन फाइंड पे था, एक इंटरवल ट्री पे था, वन वाज लाइक डायरेक्ट बाइनरी सर्च ऑन आंसर था, एक ग्राफ का क्वेश्चन था, उसमें भी लाइक आई डिड नॉट फाइंड इट दैट टफ। एक सच में बहुत टफ क्वेश्चन था जिसमें दैट वाज वन इंटरव्यू जहां पर आई वाज फीलिंग वेरी नर्वस बिकॉज उसमें कपल ऑफ डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स यूज करे थे, दैट वाज अ हैश मैप ऑफ लिंक लिस्ट, सो दैट वाज मोर ऑन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन। सो या दैट उस हिसाब से डिपेंड करता है, कभी कभी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हेवी क्वेश्चन पूछ देंगे जहाँ पर पॉइंटर्स डिफरेंट डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स का कॉम्बिनेशन लग रहा हो। तो ये है कि हाँ यार प्रैक्टिस चाहिए, सारे डेटा स्ट्रक्चर की प्रैक्टिस चाहिए, कोई भी टॉपिक से क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं, ट्राई से पूछते हैं, कभी सेगमेंटरी से भी पूछ लेते हैं, मतलब बाकी कंपनीज इतने कॉम्प्लेक्स टॉपिक पे नहीं जाती, पर गूगल से आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो, कंपलसरी नहीं है। कभी मतलब अगर आप इंटर्न के लिए अगर आप इंटरव्यू करोगे तो आपसे सिर्फ एरेस पे भी क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, एरेस पे, स्ट्रिंग्स पे, थोड़े मैथमेटिकल बेस्ड, कोई आपको कुछ फॉर्मूला तभी वहीं डिजाइन करना है मैथमेटिकल टाइप से। तो ये बेस्ट ऑप्शन है अगर आप इंटर्न के लिए, अगर आप अभी 6 months इंटर्न के लिए आएगी इस टाइम पे, थर्ड ईयर वालों के लिए, दैट वुड बी फ्रॉम जनवरी टू जुलाई। सो आई थिंक दैट्स द बेस्ट बेट। वहां पर अगर आप इंटरव्यू क्लियर करना काफी ईजी होता है, 2 इंटरव्यूज होते हैं क्योंकि आपके इवन फॉर द ईमिया रीजन इंडिया से गूगल के लिए काफी सारे इंटर्न्स, काफी सारे नहीं, आई वुड से 2 या 3 से मेरी बात हुई है जो इंडिया रीजन से सेलेक्ट हुए फॉर स्विट्जरलैंड, फॉर लंदन। So I don't think like how many of you applied, but वो सिर्फ 2 राउंड्स था, एंड देन मतलब वो आई थिंक इज द इजीएस्ट प्रोसेस। आप 2 राउंड्स ऑफ इंटरव्यू दो, वहाँ पर इंटर्नशिप करो एंड देन कन्वर्ट इट टू पीटीओ।
ओके, और एक और था लाइक जो ओएस बताया आपने, तो ओएस में किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं इंटरव्यू में? लाइक ओएस थ्योरी पार्ट तो अलग चीज है, बट इंटरव्यू में किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस होते हैं ओएस के?
नहीं यार, ऐसे न्यूमेरिकल टाइप नहीं पूछते कि राउंड रॉबिन है किसी का, आप ऐसे न्यूमेरिकल सॉल्व कर दो, या बैंकर्स इन ऐसा एल्गोरिदम का आपसे कोई न्यूमेरिकल टाइप क्वेश्चन मेरे से तो नहीं पूछा है। आई ओएस से मेरे को याद आया दैट देयर इज अ बुक नेम्ड द डायनासोर बुक व्हिच आई रेड, व्हिच इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। आपको ओएस के काफी सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर हो जाएंगे। सो इट विल ऑलवेज बी अबाउट कॉन्सेप्ट्स, कि ऐसे क्वेश्चंस की आपके हिसाब से आपका आइडियल ओएस क्या होगा, आप उसमें क्या फीचर्स डालना चाहोगे। तो लाइक उसके लिए आपको ओएस की मैं बताऊं, ओएस पे मेरे से क्वेश्चंस पूछे थे इन कंपनीज लाइक इफ यू इंटरव्यू फॉर पैलेंटियर लंदन, सो एंड मतलब जो थोड़ी सी हाई ट्रेडिंग फ्रीक्वेंसी वाली भी कंपनीज है, उनके इंटरव्यूज डेफिनेटली इनसे भी बहुत टफर होते हैं, उनका पैकेज भी इनसे बहुत ज्यादा होता है। सो वो लोग ओएस पे काफी ज्यादा स्ट्रेस कर देते हैं, लाइक वेरी इन डेप्थ वाला ओएस। आई थिंक आई वाज नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट एंड दैट्स द रीजन आई स्क्रूड दैट इंटरव्यू। So yeah, OS is recommended. I think जो मैं book बताई हूँ, the dinosaur वाली, that would suffice. Like if you go through it, you'll get the idea. Conceptual questions होते हैं, not numerical.
Okay. Anyone would like to ask a question?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you're on.
Am I audible? Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
you're
audible.
audible.
You are
Yes,
audible.
you're on.
मेरा क्वेश्चन अरिजीत भैया से है। हाँ भैया, जैसे आपने अभी मेंशन किया था वो यूनिकॉर्न स्टार्टअप्स के लिए आपने अप्लाई किया था, जैसे एक आपने मेंशन किया जुलान बुक करके, तो वो कोई उनका पर्टिकुलर साइट है या उनके करियर पेज पे जाके ही अप्लाई करना होता है, या मतलब कहीं लिस्ट है ऐसा कुछ?
So basically, I like made a compilation of like 100 or 200 companies which like hire internationally and sponsor visa. So basically, I'm trying to send a link. I would request
आपका
Sanket
mic
to basically, yeah, I would request Sanket to basically send it on the chat. So what happens is the Europe positions, it's more or less same as you interview for India. It's just that you will have to apply for those companies, and the major thing which is like the candidates do not know is the companies which hire the Indians and like sponsor visa and relocation. So the list which I'm sharing has a like country wise mentioned companies, so you can definitely apply to these and like try to take a referral. And yeah, all like prefer to apply via like make a LinkedIn job alerts, so that whenever a opening is there on the website, you can be notified. And also check intervally on those specific websites and make a target list of particular companies which you want to interview for, and your skill set uh, like varies, like will match these companies and the questions which are asked in these interviews.
Okay, thank you, Bia.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, just a minute. We have Preeti Priya with us. She was facing some internet issue. She's incoming cybersecurity graduate from AON UK. So we'll ask her so she can tell her journey in the field of cybersecurity and how can she finally crack this job offer. Because we have had enough of software engineers, so there's one person who cracked the field of cybersecurity. So I'd like her to speak.
So hi guys, I've got offers from Aon London and EY Edinburgh. Both of them are for the cyber solutions and cybersecurity graduate schemes. So before I actually start, I can't really code. So in case any of you don't have any interest in programming, there are still tech roles that you can apply to, and they're pretty decent. So my offer is from a graduate scheme, which is basically an entry level job. So you are a permanent employee, you have your regular wages and your permanent employee benefits, but you still get a few months for training. This is the difference between a regular job and a graduate trainee job. All right. So what they do is they put you in different rotations in all the business units of your company. So since I applied for cybersecurity in Aon and EY, in both of them, I would have worked in the different cyber departments of these companies, and then I would choose which one I want to become an associate in. So, as for my interest in cybersecurity, it was extremely accidental. So, as I said, I don't really like coding a lot. So, I tried to, look into different things. I tried a bit of web development, regular development back in first and second year. I realized I don't like them. Came across cybersecurity and dug deeper into it a little bit and realized that this is extremely interesting. And slowly my passion started to build. And it's completely all right if you aren't very passionate about the field that you're in. You just need to have an interest, and that interest needs to be enough that you actually want to pursue it for a long time and you're enjoying what you're doing, right? That is the main thing. So I started to look for internships because the problem with security is that, like, if you're an SD, you can still work on your own projects. You can better your skills that way, right? There are a lot of websites where you can keep practicing. For security, it's slightly different. Now, there are a couple of websites like Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, which give you labs where you can actually go and hack machines, or where you can learn defense and figure out what you're more interested in. But it's still a little difficult. So if any of you want resources, I can send links to Saket separately and he'll forward them to you. But it is a little hard and there's a lot of research required in this field. So after my internships, what I figured out is that security is a very vast field. Okay, you've got your offensive security, you have defense, you have compliance, you have forensics, and all of them are very different. The skill sets don't overlap at all. So you really need to figure out which niche you're actually interested in for your full-time job. That is the main reason I wanted to work in a graduate scheme wala role, because these, as I said, they put you in different rotations in the different business units. So for this Aon job that I came across from the website itself, referrals don't work in graduate schemes, by the way, and a lot of UK companies offer these. So your Big Four offer these. I guess McKinsey and Bain and Co do this as well. So I found out through Accenture, which I couldn't apply to because they had a January intake. So I applied to EY, I applied to Deloitte, Aon, and Tieto Every. I got offers from EY and Aon, and in both of them, the procedure was mostly similar. So it's a very long process, by the way. It takes a couple of months. So this starts roughly in the September of the year before you're going to graduate. So for you guys, it would be this year, September.
And these applications would stay open till June, but they are on a rolling basis. So for my turn, it closed in November or December itself because there were so many applications within that short period. So once you apply, first you obviously fill the application and they just check whether you're not eligible. After that, you have a situational judgment test. So in this entire round, there are no right answers for any of the questions. Basically, they just give you a lot of business scenarios. They give you a lot of context and they give you different pathways for every single question that you have. So you just need to figure out from your own judgment what would be the best way to proceed. And all of these would obviously be related to your job role. So now my thing would basically be cyber security consultancy. So all of these paths that I had and all of these questions and contexts were related to consultancy. So this round goes on for about 45 minutes, after which you have your numerical reasoning, so just stats and logic and all of that. After this, there is a technical interview. Now, in the technical interview, you are speaking to someone for 45 minutes straight, but you aren't exactly asked about, your coding experience or what your interests are, not and not any of that. They just want to check how you think. That is all that matters. So they'll give you a lot of questions that would be related to what your approach would be in different situations, in different technical situations related to your field. So, for example, instead of asking me which tools I have experience with or how much I know about a certain methodology, they would instead ask me that if I was faced with a completely new tool, how would I approach that tool, using that tool? How would I figure out whether or not it's appropriate in that situation, whether or not it would help with my investigation? So, these are the kinds of questions that they ask just to see how you think. All right. So, this round goes on for 45 minutes, after which you have an assessment center. Assessment centers are part of every single graduate scheme and they are very tedious. So it's a back-to-back round for 5 to 6 hours and it has a lot of things. So it always starts with a group interview. And in that interview, they just want to check how you behave in teams and how you would behave in front of clients. So it could be anything. It could be maybe a case interview that you have to solve together with the other people related to your job role, of course. Or it could be a regular debate or a group discussion, anything. After your group interview, you then have another situational interview, but this time it's to check your consultancy skills. So they'll give you an actual situation that is, you are a consultant, this is your client, and this is the scenario. You have 2 minutes to think of how you would handle it and then speak for 30 minutes. So you really need to be able to think on your feet because you would never expect the context that you're getting. You would have absolutely no experience in that situation. You just need to keep coming up with answers on the spot, but they have to make sense, of course. So they just want to see how you handle pressure and how you're able to think in that kind of a situation. After this, you have your motivational and behavioral interviews, and you also get to speak to senior directors of your company. This is again standard for all graduate schemes. So, with respect to cybersecurity itself, now the good thing about graduate schemes is you don't actually need to have any experience in the field that you're applying to. You just need to be able to prove that you have the aptitude for it. I did, however, have experience which helped me a lot in explaining why I'm interested in the first place. But you could still apply to completely new things if you're able to justify your interest and if you can show them that you can think the way they want you to. And that is the main thing about all of this. And even with Aon and with EY, they never expected me to have the kind of internship. In fact, one of the people who got in with me, she's a psychology student who has absolutely no experience in tech, but she was able to explain herself so well that she ended up with the same job as me. So you don't actually, need to have internships. You don't need to have projects in these fields. You just need to be very coherent with your thoughts when you're speaking to them, and just need to be able to show that you can be a consultant and that you're good with clients. That's it.
Okay, thank you. So we'll open again for the audience if anyone would like to ask questions.
Also along, yeah, I just add one point along those lines. Even I interviewed for Barclays UK, and those rounds were like those were not at all based on coding. You're not expected to write even a single line of code, not even in your job or your interviews. So you could maybe target those like the investment banking valley companies and these sort of firms, Goldman Sachs. Like there are some roles which are pure technical, but then there are also some roles which are non-technical. You're not expected to write code. So yeah, you people can also target it, especially the EC people.
Adding to this, I would like to add a suggestion. So, like, I would suggest you to, like, all of the guys to start interviewing from the start of the hiring season, especially in seventh semester. So even if you got rejected, once, you will have a second chance to interview in your eighth semester, which happened with mine in Amazon Luxembourg since I got rejected in Amazon Luxembourg. But after 6 months, I interviewed for the Amazon Dublin position and I got selected. So it's always better to, since a lot of candidates are applying and slots, depending upon the availability of slots, even if your interviews are not completed and you are selected like for the next round, but the slots are unavailable, they can stop your process at the moment because the slots are filled. So slots also do matter a lot because a lot of candidates are applying to these positions across like worldwide.
Okay, so any questions?
Yes, sir. I have.
Hello. My question is a general question for everyone. Like, if you could hypothetically repeat your entire BTech, I hope not. So, what would be the milestones and checkpoints that you will be placing along the way? Because I'm a first year student and I'm like unaware of all these things.
So he's basically asking for a roadmap, if any of you guys can give him one.
In a nutshell.
Again, I don't believe in roadmaps. Roadmaps do not exist. There are only experiences. Even me and Arijit and Yatan were selected in the same company, the same job, the same place, but we might have a lot of different experiences. So don't listen to roadmaps. Don't listen to people who tell you कि 6 महीने में ये नहीं हो सकता or something like that. Uh, it's it's quite straightforward. All you have to do is study and find interviews that align your skill sets. That's the only thing that matters. And sometimes luckily अब वो luckily होता है, and it's also upon chance. अगर तुम 500 interviews देते हो, अगर तुम 100 interviews देते हो, let's say, there is going to be 5 or 6 interviews that are going to align with your skill set and the things that you're looking, plus the things that they are looking. So it's just pure math. जितने ज़्यादा अप्लाई करोगे, जितने ज़्यादा interviews दोगे, the more the chances. Or that's the only way. Don't find out interviews and 100% success वाले paths कि ये करेंगे तो हो ही जाएगा, because things are different for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, so since you mentioned that you are in a first year, so try to explore a lot of things. There are a lot of different fields like from cybersecurity, web development, Android, front end, back end, machine learning, AI, blockchain. Like you will, a lot of people are doing a lot of stuff. So the best thing is that try to like do a hit and trial method. Try to learn everything for some months. Give time to, let's say, for me, I started with machine learning AI. I did not like mathematics much, so I got a clarity that okay, MLI is not my thing. Then I tried to move to like Android development. Android development, since at that time I was initially I knew only Python and C++, but I find the syntax of Java very weird. So I like did not like that much. So I tried then shifted to web development and then find JavaScript like very similar to C++. Like it is very different, but the thing is try to explore different things and then figure out what is best for you. That is the best suggestion.
Yeah, my 2 cents there would be like initially we I think I skipped on a lot of opportunities thinking कि मैं तो यार अभी first year में हूँ. I think I should wait for at least third या fourth year to get some internship या placement या whatever. So first year में intern like placement पे तो अभी बिल्कुल भी ऐसे मतलब उस पे hellbent मत करो कि how do I prepare for placement. That I think is a 8 to 10 months thing. So matlab, you can start anytime. That's the rough timeline you would take. Then again, it depends on person experiences. But then again, you have a lot of fellowships nowadays from Microsoft, from companies like Google, Goldman Sachs, Basis Educare program. So try to collate these opportunities. मतलब first step I think ये है कि एक बार idea ले लो कि क्या क्या opportunities present है. I know a lot of these are inclined toward girls, but ठीक है, it is what it is. But even, like girls के लिए तो बहुत ज़्यादा है. Please first year में कोई खाली मत बैठना. Google, Apex and these and मतलब first year में things are a lot easier. Competition cut down to like very low numbers. ठीक है, अगर आपको आपके 11th 12th में जिसने भी CS करी है तो वो फर्स्ट ईयर में खाली मत बैठना. ट्राई टू गेट सम फेलोशिप या ट्राई टू गेट अ हैंड्स ऑन प्रैक्टिस. ट्राई टू गेट इनटू अ कम्युनिटी. कोई भी स्कॉलरशिप, कोई भी फेलोशिप, देयर इज अ लॉन्ग लिस्ट. मतलब वी कैन शेयर सम ऑफ द रिसोर्सेज रिगार्डिंग दैट आल्सो. So yeah.
So one thing
Thank you.
adding to Shreya, I want to add one thing
Yeah.
कि यार सिर्फ technical जगह पे तुम opportunities मत ढूंढना. There are many things where you can go and try your hands. Like I was too into gaming and trading till third year. जब तक मेरी placements नहीं आई थी, I was like hardcore gamer. I used to game a lot, like 12 hours, 14 hours. So ऐसी नई नई चीजें भी try करते रहना क्योंकि सिर्फ like there is not one way. Like you have to get a technical job or you have to get into tech. बहुत सारी चीजें जो भी बूम हो रही है इंडिया में अपार्ट फ्रॉम टेक बूम तो हो चुका अब ई स्पोर्ट्स का बूम आ रहा है अब लोग फाइनेंशियली एजुकेट होकर खुद को कर रहे हैं तो तुम उस साइड भी अपने आप को इंक्लाइन कर सकते हो तो ये अगर फर्स्ट ईयर में हो तो आपके पास इनॉर्मस अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम है यार तुम कुछ भी ट्राई कर सकते हो कोई ना कोई चीज करते रहो उसके बाद बहुत लोगों का इंटरेस्ट नहीं होता कोडिंग में मेरा भी इनिशियली नहीं था फिर बिल्डअप हुआ धीरे धीरे जब मैंने चीजें देखी तो चीजें हैं अगर तुम्हें मन है तुम नहीं करना चाहते कोडिंग तो बहुत सारी चीजें जो तुम ट्राई कर सकते हो तो उसके लिए एक शॉट जरूर देना अदरवाइज तुम रिग्रेट बहुत करोगे क्योंकि एक बार प्लेसमेंट सीजन आ गया तो और तुमने कोई चीज नहीं ट्राई की है तो तुम्हारा दिमाग प्लेसमेंट से नहीं हट पाएगा और फिर तुम वो चीज ट्राई नहीं कर पाओगे सो आई वुड रिकमेंड कि यू शुड ट्राई समथिंग एल्स और समथिंग इन विच अबाउट विच यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट अपार्ट फ्रॉम ऑल दीस टेक्निकल जॉब्स क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं यार तो फर्स्ट सेकंड ईयर में तो थोड़ा वो भी ट्राई करना सिर्फ प्लेसमेंट जॉब इन सब चीजों के पीछे ज्यादा भागना ठीक है अच्छी बात है बट उन चीजों को भी ट्राई करना उनके भी रिजल्ट्स बहुत फ्रूटफुल होते हैं हाँ सबके लिए नहीं बट हाँ उनके भी रिजल्ट फ्रूटफुल होते हैं मेरे कई दोस्त हैं जो आगे अच्छे गेमिंग उसमें वो कर गए काफी दोस्त हैं जो फाइनेंशियली बहुत आगे निकल गए क्रिप्टो में बहुत आगे निकल गए एनएफटीज वगैरह में जिनके बारे में लोगों को पता नहीं था उन्होंने 2020 से पता करना शुरू कर दिया आज वो बहुत आगे हैं सो यू शुड ट्राई योर हैंड्स इन ईच एंड एवरी फील्ड अपार्ट फ्रॉम टेक लाइक यू शुड टेक टेक आल्सो बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम टेक आपको काफी सारी चीजें ट्राई करनी चाहिए
Hi.
Thank you.
My question is कि how
Any
can I
advice for SD
problems
position for third year students?
Please ask one by one, Vishal. And start.
Any advice for third year students regarding SD roles and internships?
थर्ड ईयर में तो आई थिंक यार अब इट्स टाइम की मतलब यू स्टार्ट फोकसिंग जस्ट ऑन डीएसए बिकॉज आई मतलब according to me 80% of all of my interviews were purely based on DSA so cannot undervalue that regarding DSA contest देना start कर दो very important for speed for getting the environment so code studio पे contest होते हैं उसके questions अच्छे level के होते हैं वो दे दो lead code पे virtual contest दे सकते हो when you have a interview scheduled I think if I talk about Google तो lead code premium helped a lot ठीक है आपको सबके उसमें भी टेस्ट मॉक टेस्ट बने रहते हैं सबके लिए फॉर ऑन साइट्स फॉर फोन इंटरव्यूज फॉर स्क्रीनिंग राउंड तो सबके लिए अलग अलग होते हैं नाइस लाइक क्यूरेटेड क्वेश्चंस एक बार में सारी चीजें मिल जाएंगी दैट्स नाइस देन अगेन आई मेरे को जो हेल्प करा था सबसे ज्यादा आई थिंक वाज मॉक इंटरव्यूज मतलब आई डेफिनेटली माय रियल इंटरव्यूज के नंबर आर lesser than the number of mock interviews I have given. So at that time I came across this channel. I don't think if it still exists, but it was SBE Skills and एक S color का blue logo था. I don't think if you will be able to find it now, but you can try. तो उसमें वो लोग मॉक इंटरव्यूज कंडक्ट कराते थे फ्रॉम इंटरनेशनल पीपल नेशनल पीपल डिस्कॉर्ड का चैनल था बहुत ही अच्छा चैनल था बहुत ही लोग एक्टिव रहते थे अपॉर्चुनिटीज बताते थे बहुत सीनियर पीपल थे जो हमारे इंटरव्यूज लेते थे फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट दे यूज टू कंडक्ट इंटरव्यूज लाइक व्हेनेवर दे आर फ्री यू कुड पिंग देम यू कुड पेयर अप विद एनी ऑफ द इंटरव्यूअर्स जो कि काम कर रहे जो लाइक दे प्रोफेशनली आल्सो टेक इंटरव्यूज इन देयर जॉब्स but in free time they're trying to help communities so ऐसा type का कोई community मिल जाए so it's very beneficial mock interviews I think what is the number one way to go about interviews क्योंकि पहला interview real अगर आप दोगे तो I am definitely like you'll just mess it up so yeah try giving mock interviews.
Also, like I would like to add that please be active on LinkedIn because there are so many opportunities which people keeps on posting on LinkedIn. So yeah, please be active there. And also, like the most important thing, please never self-reject yourself, even if you think that you are not completely prepared, because no one is 100% prepared ever. So like please don't self-reject yourself. If you see an opportunity, just apply and try your best, give your best, keep practicing DSA, and I hope you'll all nail it.
And you like do not need to be the best coder of your college or any state or any country. It's just about that how much passionate you are about certain things, and at the end interviewing is just about a number game, that the more number of interviews you give means that more number of chances of you getting selected in these companies. Don't basically compare yourself with others. The best thing is that compare yourself with what you were 6 months back. That's like good.
I have one question.
So, sir, my question is, sir, how could I improve my logical thinking and problem solving skills?
Please
Anyone
don't
of you
call
can
us
answer.
sir.
Who is sir here?
Yep.
Hello. Anyone can answer. How do I improve my logical thinking and problem solving skill? I have an issue in this area, you know.
So
Like
how long have you been coding for? Shruti,
Sir, I'm just yes.
please
I'm in
don't call
first
me
year.
sir. Call me Rahul.
Okay, Rahul. I'm in first year right now, so I'm just a beginner, and yeah,
So
don't
it
know
is
much
going to
about.
be problematic starting में, especially if you have never done it before. ठीक है, तो don't push it. It is normal. सबके साथ होता है. I remember first time में I did not even know कि array का size कैसे निकालते हैं. तो every time for at least a week मैं जब भी कुछ क्वेश्चन वगैरह कर रहा होता आई हैड टू गूगल एकदम छोटे छोटे सिंटैक्सेस भी कि साइज कैसे निकालते हैं, सॉर्ट कैसे करते हैं, एंड विच हेडर फाइल वाज दैट. तो ये सारी चीजें यू नीड टू गूगल अगेन एंड अगेन. और रिगार्डिंग योर एनालिटिकल स्किल्स, इट कम्स विद प्रैक्टिस. स्टार्टिंग में यू आर गोइंग टू गेट स्टक छोटे मोटे क्वेश्चंस के अंदर, लाइक द बेसिक क्वेश्चंस, फॉर लूप के क्वेश्चंस, पैटर्न के क्वेश्चंस, यू आर गोइंग टू गेट स्टक एट देम. Don't directly look for answers. You have to solve them, you have to think about them, और प्रैक्टिस से ही आएगा. देयर इज नो इजी वे. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं कुछ बताऊंगा और तुम वो पढ़ोगे और अगले दिन एकदम से बोलेगे क्या चीज बताई राहुल ने, सारे क्वेश्चन होने लग गए. इट्स आई स्टिल गेट स्टक ऑन प्रॉब्लम्स. So that's not how it's going to work. 6 months karo, and when you look back, you would be very proud of yourself.
सर थैंक यू. सर एक और चीज की डीएसए का कोई रिसोर्सेज है अच्छा कि मतलब कहाँ का?
लीड कोड के ऊपर जाओ, प्रॉब्लम्स क्लिक करो, एरे का क्वेश्चन पकड़ो एंड स्टार्ट डूइंग. अगर नहीं समझ आता एरे क्या है, गूगल इट, एरे क्या है. प्रॉब्लम्स करके उसकी थ्योरी पढ़ो. देयर इज नो अदर वे. क्वेश्चंस करने से ही होगा जो होगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि 6 महीने थ्योरी पढ़ ली एंड नाउ यू गोइंग टू स्टार्ट क्वेश्चंस. लीड कोड पर जाओ, इजी वाले फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन से स्टार्ट हो जाओ. आई थिंक रनिंग सम है इजी का वन ऑफ द इजीएस्ट वंस ऊपर ऊपर. तो स्टार्ट डूइंग इजी क्वेश्चंस लीड कोड पर, ऐसे ही होएगा. एंड दीज आर द क्वेश्चंस दैट आर आस्क्ड इवन इन इंटरव्यूज. सो दीज आर द टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. यही करके होगा सब. ओके.
all right, thank you so much. Also, a lot of free videos on pep coding on a lot of different topics. So yeah, like if you're a complete beginner, that could be a good way to start with to understand ki haan, kaun sa, because that's true कि you have to go to the questions directly, but sometimes like there are certain frameworks जिन्हें आपको पहले समझना पड़ेगा. Only then you could solve some questions. So it's like just like in very famous algorithms जिनको आपको पहले internalize करना पड़ेगा. Only then you'll be able to solve some questions. So yeah, मतलब किसी भी टॉपिक के लिए पहले BFS क्या है, DFS क्या है समझ लो, and then you could directly move to questions, and then just yeah, train your brain कि last time आप कहाँ अटके थे. Again, if you get a similar kind of obstacle in different problem, so try to tackle it with the same previous framework you used in your mind. So थोड़ा सा मतलब वैसे पैटर्न वाइज चीजों को पढ़ने के लिए ट्राई करो, ग्रुप करो चीजों को, तो इट वुड गेट इजियर. अदरवाइज तो लाइक ऐसे 500 600 रैंडम बहुत ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस हो जाते, सो इट गेट्स डिफिकल्ट. थोड़ा सा स्ट्रीमलाइन प्रोसेस वैसे कर सकते हो कि हाँ टॉपिक वाइज अभी जाओ, बाद में यू कुड शफल इट एंड लाइक do any topic which you're like approach different questions from random topics. But yeah, pep coding and take you forward. Those two resources I think would be a good way to start with.
But don't just keep watching tutorials. ऐसा मत करना कि दिन भर tutorials देख रहे हो.
Okay, सर वो कोई गुड YouTube मतलब चैनल्स हैं जो आप रिकमेंड करें?
श्रेया ने बताए हुए हैं ऑलरेडी।
Take
टेक
you
यू
forward.
फॉरवर्ड बताया स्ट्राइवर का, एंड पेप कोडिंग का भी आई थिंक शी इज रिकमेंडेड। अगर कोई जावा करता है तो आई विल रिकमेंड ऑफ कोर्स कुणाल कुशवाहा का।
Like this is one of the thing which I regret is like finding the best DSA course out there. Best DSA course कुछ ऐसा exist ही नहीं करता. Just start with any of the course जो तुम्हें सही लग रहा है, अच्छा लग रहा है. Just start with, and at the end, it's not about the DSA course what you did. It's all about the number of questions you practiced and how much consistent you were in your preparation.
I would like to add one thing, like for the DSA part, the one channel which I followed in the starting, like the beginner point of view से काफी helpful था, was Code School. The way they have explained all the data structures, it's very beginner friendly. So I think you can check that out also.
All right, thank you so much.
Hello, can I? I have one question. So, like for a third year student who loves development, what are the good opportunities in the space, like for international and also Indian? And does international companies consider development more than Indian companies, or what's it like?
Like it totally depends upon the company you are applying for. Like as I said, in Meta, they don't even like the computer programming ranks doesn't matter for the front end engineer role. So if you're applying for the software engineer role, they might do matter or consider you. For the role of front end engineer, they only ask you development based questions and no lead code. DSA is important, and the more or less the questions are totally towards development only. As well as in Zalando, if you're interviewing for development roles, basically you might get asked a DSA as well as development. So that is a bit more difficult thing to learn, because there are a lot of different number of the syllabus becomes more wide and huge, because you have to prepare like for front end, back end, as well as anything, as well as a DSA. So the number of topics become more.
Hello,
Can you tell more about graduate scheme, Preeti Di?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Hi. What exactly about graduate schemes, like their structure or how to apply, how to search for them? What exactly do you want to know?
Is this stuff?
Okay. So, so in a regular job, when you join from the very first day, you're working like full time. You're expected to have certain skills. You're expected to know your, basics, and you start working on projects, right? In graduate schemes, what they do is there is a buffer period. Now, that buffer period can be of any length. It depends from company to company. My company has it for 8 months. EY has it for 2 years. So it can depend where you're applying. Now, during this buffer period, they allow you to work in different business areas of that company, all right? So, for example, if you're going for, let's say, actuarial consulting, then they'll let you work for some time in investments, they'll let you work for some time in insurance, for some time in risk mitigation. If you're going for cybersecurity, for example, you'll be working in compliance, you'll be working in forensics, you'll be working in incident response, all of these for a few months each. After all of this has happened, you worked on real projects in these different areas. You get to decide what you want to pursue as a full-time associate. Now, during this training period as well, you are a full-time employee. You're getting your entire wage, all right? So it isn't like an internship. It's not like a normal traineeship. It's an actual exposure to all of these different business lines. So the
Is it
idea
part
is
time
that
or
no, it's full time. It's a full time job, and you're basically working as a full time employee. You're working with the real teams on the real projects, and it's going to be a regular job. So, for example, when I go, I'll be joining Aon. I'll be joining the cyber solutions department, and I'll get 2 months each in all of their four different cyber areas. All right, it'll be a full time job the entire time. Depending on where I'm posted, your location could be different. Now, for Aon, all their cyber offices are within London, so I won't have to move a lot. But for some other companies, their different business lines are located in different locations. So they might make you move as well during these rotations, all right? So that's the only difference between a graduate scheme and a normal job. It's that you get all of this real world exposure, and you actually have the decision and the power to, choose where you want to work full time once this training is over. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's normal.
how can we apply for them?
Okay, so in the UK, I'm not sure about other countries, but in the UK, graduate schemes are very big. So all your major companies have graduate schemes there. So you'll always have to apply through their website because referrals don't work. So reaching out to recruiters or to other employees, that won't really help. You'll have to go to the website, you'll have to go through the entire process. And the process for all of these companies is very, very long. So as I said, it goes for multiple months. And it's a good idea to start applying when the applications come out initially itself, because a lot of people apply to them. So even though the actual window is for 6 months or so, they might close within the first month. Like that happened for me in both Aon and EY. So September is when they start rolling out these applications. So you should start looking you should start looking at the websites. Some companies that I remember off the top of my head would be Aon, there's EY, there's Deloitte. I'm pretty sure PwC has it too, but you'll have to check the website again. Check for the UK websites because they will definitely have it. Some other countries have it as well. So Aon, for example, has these graduate schemes in the US as well, in Australia, and in Singapore as well. So you'll have to look for them. It's a lot of research. At one point, I'm pretty sure I went through every single student forum that's available in the UK just to see which companies offer these. So you'll have to put in actual time and effort into this. But I could like look for some of the links that I've used, and I'll send them over to these guys at IEEE. They could forward them to you, but it'll take a lot of time to actually figure out. And another thing is that I only know about the cybersecurity opportunities that exist, right? Because I had a very narrowed down focus. So if you want to go into development, then you will actually have a lot more opportunities because that's a more general role, right? You'll be going to tech consulting. So you'll have more opportunities. You just need to spend some time into searching for which companies offer graduate schemes and in which countries. Another thing that you'll have to keep in mind is that you should focus on the countries that give visas easily. So applying to the US wouldn't be as useful as applying to any European country, right? Even both the UK and the EU, they are very, very open with their visa sponsorship. So it's a good idea to focus on these countries, especially because there's a lot of effort that goes into the entire process. So you'll get burnt out if you're applying, blindly, if you're applying everywhere. So try to narrow down your focus, try to see which countries you want to go to, why you want to go there, and which exact specific roles you're interested in. So I think that is where you should start from.
Does it require a specific skill set?
I mean, not really. So as I said, all these graduate schemes are for everything. So this is for law, this is for business, tech, anything. So if you want to go into tech, there will be a lot of tech consultancy graduate schemes. You just need to search for them. If you want to go for non-tech, they exist as well. So it depends on what your skill set is, what your interest is, and just search accordingly.
Thanks, Deep.
I wanted to ask Arijit Bhaiya, if you could start over, how would you learn to code? I mean, not really a big explanation, just like, a gist.
So basically, I learned Python in 11th, 12th, computer science. Then for the next 2 years, first year and second year, I did not do like anything. Like I did not even do DSA as well as development. I was part of multiple societies like Prakriti and RM Dramatic Society of our college. So I pretty much did nothing respect to the preparation of interviews. My preparation started after in the COVID season, like when we were given after third semester or like the middle of fourth semester. So I took the course Web Development Bootcamp by Angela Yu, which basically gave me a clear idea that okay, which is a Udemy course. It costs around like 400 or 500 rupees. So I did that course in like 1 or 2 months because from a college it was told that we are supposed to do a minor we are supposed to work on a minor project or do some sort of training. So I was really curious that okay, I am not aware of anything. What shall I do? What shall I how shall I approach? So I like started that course with a couple of my friends, and then I learned development, like full stack development, from starting from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then towards backend Node.js and React.js. After which I pretty much got a clear idea that okay, this is the thing which I can continue for the next a couple of years. So I started moving more around like what are the other options. So from that point I figured out that okay, if I am going towards the DSA path, it might take me more amount of time, probably 6 months to 1 year, to master it. On the other hand, where if I like go on the development path first, I can basically apply to internships early. Like I started with a early edtech startup named as Resilience. Then I probably after doing the internship, since but each and every internship, my confidence towards development was getting more prominent. So afterwards, I started applying to 10 to 11 open source programs like MLS Fellowship. I got rejected thrice. I applied to Processing Foundation Fellowship. It is also open source program. Then there are multiple open source programs out there, and there are videos explaining that. So I got into two open source programs like Google Summer of Code and Linux Foundation open source program. After which I then started figure out that okay, companies not do not like only development skill is not sufficient to clear interviews. You will also have to prepare DSA well. So afterwards, I started doing DSA in C++. Like it was a very absurd way of doing things, but this is the way which I followed unconsciously. So I did develop then DSA in C++ for nearly 6 to 8 months. After which, since my resume got shortlisted for Meta, and Meta only focuses on JavaScript and for the role of front-end engineer, and I for specifically targeting Meta because for the role of front-end engineer, you will get the best experience over there. So then afterwards, I properly shifted to JavaScript and started giving interviews in more or less JavaScript onwards. So I think this is pretty much about it. Also,
yeah. So I just had one more question. I'm in first year and I like competitive programming. So all my friends are doing web development. Whenever I ask somebody, they say I'm doing web development, I'm doing this. They have done till React, Node.js, but I'm doing competitive programming and I like it. And I don't really like web development. So do you think I should do web development in the first year, or is it like I can do web development later and continue with competitive programming right now?
That's a really good question. So basically, computer programming is one of those things which I really regret not trying it once, because the thing is that try everything. I did not get that much amount of time since I started after second year, after most probably in the third year. So I got 2 years to prepare for the interviews. So I could not. I basically focused on lead code, DSA, Java, and development and open source contributions. So I think you should keep continuing with computer programming if you're liking it. That's definitely a good thing. Just basically the thing is that do anything which you are passionate about and have interest, and interest is the key thing to clear those interviews, because if you're having some interest in a particular thing, you are bound to you basically enjoy doing that thing, and you can do it for hours and hours, day and night, because you're enjoying that thing. So that is the thing. If you're enjoying it, do pursue it. If you after probably second year on, after some months, if you try to do some other things, try to move with development as well, but do continue computer programming if you're liking it.
Thank you very much.
Hello, am I audible?
Hello, Via. Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you're
जैसे
Uh,
शादी थी
yeah,
मेरे को शादी
I
से पूछना था कि जैसे श्रेया दीदी ने कोल्ड ईमेलिंग करी है, तो श्रेया दीदी उसमें एक स्पेसिफिक रोल ईमेल में भेजते थे, या श्रेया दीदी ने गूगल रिक्रूटर को बोला कि उन्हें सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट इंजीनियरिंग में इंटरेस्ट है, तो आपने मतलब एक लिंक के साथ ईमेल भेजा था, या मतलब आपने बोला कि आपका स्किल सेट ये है और आपको देख ले कोई मतलब रेलेवेंट रोल?
गॉट इट यार, आपके पास लिंक हो तो इट्स इवन बेटर. एज आई सेड, जब तक मैंने अप्लाई करा था लिंक एक्सपायर हो चुका था. इट वाज नॉट ऑन द करियर साइट एनी मोर. सो द चांसेस वर मोर कि शायद वो जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी खत्म हो चुकी है एंड अब आप मतलब उसके लिए नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते. इट वाज अ टोटली हवा में तीर चलाने वाली बात. आई जस्ट रैंडमली मेड all the recruiters. So I just mentioned कि I know couple of my friends interviewed for this role, the SDE role. These are my skill sets. This is my resume. If you find it suitable for any roles you feel, then please do reach out to me. So that was sort of a generic message. But हाँ, अगर आपके पास जॉब लिंक है तो देन इट्स इवन बेटर. बट अगर जॉब लिंक है तो आई वुड से आप रिक्रूटर को मत मैसेज करो. गेट अ एम्प्लॉयज रेफरल, कोई भी वहाँ का ST1 ST2 या जो भी. Get a employees referral and then directly apply to the link. That would be beneficial. Google के case में recruiters matter. If it's specific to Google, then yeah, if you get direct contact to Google recruiter, तो आपका process काफी cut short हो जाता है. मतलब for India specifically phone screen तो आपको देना ही नहीं पड़ेगा अगर मतलब आपका अच्छा profile है DSA में. And I know आपका है.
Okay, guys, so we'll have the last two questions, and this stream will be also uploaded on IEEE MSIT YouTube channel. And all the links provided by the Arijit Bhaiya and Shreya Didi and all the SD sheets will be given in the description box of the video, so you can check. Yes.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm a third year student and I don't have an internship right now. So should I prepare for placements or look for internships?
A lot of 6 months internship would be coming your way in the October November वाला season अभी. To mention a few, Uber का internship आएगा for 6 months, Google का internship आएगा, Amazon का तो आएगा ही आएगा, and Microsoft का I think that is more from like Microsoft Engage आएगा, so you can apply to that. उसके बाद when you like build a good project, like if the mentor has a good feedback for you, you directly get the chance to interview with Microsoft. So yeah, मतलब these are the couple of things you can keep in mind. 6 months के लिए काफी सारी अभी opportunities आएंगी, and
So,
then yeah, if that pans out well, good enough. Otherwise, placements रहेगी.
so what skills should I prepare for to crack this internship?
Sorry.
What should I prepare, like DSA or some project, work on some project?
Depends, yeah. If you're confident enough in DSA and you feel कि आपका resume like बहुत अच्छा नहीं है, तो you can build some projects and like polish your resume. But like this is the time I think third year वाले तो can focus more on DSA itself, because like जितना आपका recent practice होगा उतना ज़्यादा आपको interview में help करेगा to be quicker.
Hello. My question is to Shreya Di. Basically मैंने अभी तक DSA ही करी है ज़्यादा, मतलब like 300 क्वेश्चन समथिंग ऑन लीड कोड, एंड डेव का मेरा इतना ही एक्सपीरियंस है, लाइक एंजेला यू वाला कोर्स जो अरिजीत भैया ने बताया उतना ही कर रखा है. सो अभी लाइक 1.5 months बाद जैसे प्लेसमेंट स्टार्ट है, तो लाइक राइट नाउ आई एम फोकसिंग ऑन DSA ओनली, बट आइडियली मेरे को क्या करना चाहिए, एक तो यही पूछना था. एंड सेकेंडली मेरे को पूछना था कि एप्टीट्यूड का कितना रोल रहता है ऑन कैंपस एंड ऑफ कैंपस दोनों में.
I'll talk about off campus. On campus though, because I have not like applied to a single company on campus, so maybe someone other could answer. Off campus में यार aptitude का अगर मैं बोलूँ तो इन कंपनीज में ज्यादा मैटर कर जाएगा. इन गोल्डमैन सैक्स एंड डी शॉ, इनमें एप्टीट्यूड्स के अलग से राउंड्स होते हैं. गोल्डमैन में तो बिल्कुल ही अलग से होता है, दैट्स द स्क्रीनिंग राउंड. टी शॉ में भी होता है, बट देन यू हैव कोडिंग क्वेश्चंस एंड अदर थिंग. सो अगर बाकी आप अच्छा कर ले रहे हो, वो कॉम्पनसेट कर दे रहा है, तो बहुत ज्यादा मैटर लाइक बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस देने की तो जरूरत नहीं है. आई थिंक अगर आपका जैसे कहीं शेड्यूल है और आपको पता है वहाँ पर एप्टीट्यूड पूछ रहे हैं, तो 2 weeks या 3 weeks प्रायर टू इट आप इंडिया विक्स पे जाओ. उसमें सारे मतलब जो भी उसके कैटेगराइजेशन है ऑलमोस्ट 6 या 7 रहते हैं, उसके स्पेसिफिक कुछ क्वेश्चंस करना स्टार्ट कर दो. आई डोंट थिंक कि कोई मैथ्स बैकग्राउंड से लाइक इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड वालों को बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्टी आएगी, बिकॉज लाइक उसके क्वेश्चंस बहुत ज्यादा टफ. Amazon में भी कुछ एप्टीट्यूड पूछते हैं, बट इट्स लाइक वेरी इजी फॉर इंडियन Amazon, नॉट फॉर लाइक डबलिन या कोई और लोकेशन. इंडियन Amazon में पूछते हैं, बट लाइक वेरी बहुत ईजी आई वुड से. सो लाइक बहुत ज्यादा उस पर स्ट्रेस करने की जरूरत नहीं है. यू आर सेइंग अबाउट DSA. DSA you have done, that would like definitely give you edge. I would say कि अगर मतलब सिर्फ ज्यादा DSA करा है तो मे बी आपका रिज्यूमे सिलेक्शन में आपको प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी इफ लाइक बहुत अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स या कुछ नहीं है. तो इस टाइम पे आप प्रेफर कर सकते हो कि आप वीकेंड्स में बैठ के पेट प्रोजेक्ट्स जो मतलब क्लोन्स वगैरह काफी यूट्यूब पे डायरेक्टली अवेलेबल रहता है, 7-8 hours वाली वीडियो. ऑल्दो बहुत बेनिफिट मतलब वो नहीं करते, थोड़े क्लीशे प्रोजेक्ट हो गए, बट या मतलब गुड टू हैव, कोई बात नहीं. बहुत ज्यादा आप नहीं शोकेस कर पा रहे डेवलपमेंट, बट थोड़ा बहुत तो आइडिया आपको होना चाहिए. एपीआई कैसे कॉल हो रही है, डेटाबेस कैसे, तीनों चीजें सिर्फ कैसे कनेक्ट हो रही है. तो अभी आप थोड़े से रिपीटेड प्रोजेक्ट्स भी करके काम चला सकते हो. रेज्यूमे आपका शॉर्टलिस्ट लाइक फिर कुछ कंपनीज है जिसमें सिर्फ स्टार्टिंग लेवल आपका स्क्रीनिंग सिर्फ पीएसए पे होता है, तो आप उन कंपनीज को टारगेट करो. वहाँ पर रेज्यूमे एज सच कोई रोल प्ले ही नहीं कर रहा होता. जैसे कि ऊबर, आप ऊबर का इंटर्नशिप टारगेट कर सकते हो. उनका इनिशियल राउंड होता है, उसमें आपने 3 में से 2 क्वेश्चन कर दिए तो आपका अगले राउंड के लिए कॉल आएगा ही आएगा. डजंट मैटर हाउ गुड और बैड योर रेज्यूमे इज. तो आप Amazon को टारगेट कर सकते हो. सो या इन कंपनीज को आप टारगेट करो फिर.
One thing I would like to add is that हम सबके मोस्टली ऑफर्स ऑफ कैंपस ही हैं, बट ये मत सोचना कि ऑन कंपनीज नहीं आती. Came to our college 4 times. It came like first it came for the support engineer intern, system development intern in I guess October. Afterwards it came for, I'm talking this was the opportunity via CalixPod. So the shortlisting happened on the basis of the CGPA. They did not interview a lot of candidates first. Second, Amazon came via pool campus hiring for SD intern role it was also the online test. It was on-campus hiring. And meanwhile, off-campus hiring is also done for the SD intern role, in which everyone is provided the test link, irrespective of how good your bad or resume is. If you haven't even done any of the internships or even doesn't even have any of the projects, it doesn't matter for that particular role because everyone is getting the test link. And once you have reached the interviews, it's all about DSA and how you communicate with the interview. Secondly, Amazon came for a college again for the full-time role of support engineer, system development engineer, and business intelligence engineer, and a lot of other roles. Fourth time, it like the currently hiring is going on for the software development engineer role full-time. So yeah, there are a lot of Amazon came to a college four times. There were companies like Ixigo, MobiQuick, and which were hiring and were giving a good decent package. Also, one thing I would like to mention is since we are all in MSIT, a company named as ZS Associates come to a college, and this year it came twice. So and it hired 80 students. Just do apply for that because अगर एक 10-12 लाख का पैकेज स्टार्टिंग में मिल गया, then you will have a clear idea कि क्या करना है, कुछ इससे बढ़िया ही करना है कि नेक्स्ट पूरे एक साल में पढ़ा है, इससे कुछ बढ़िया ही करना है. तो डू अप्लाई फॉर इट. उसके इंटरव्यूज बहुत ईजी रहते हैं. बस ये रहता है कि स्टूडेंट्स को पता नहीं होता कि व्हाट शैल आई प्रिपेयर फॉर. तो उसके भी 3 रूल्स रहते हैं, BTSA एंड DA. रिस्पेक्ट जो मतलब शायद हायर्ड हुए हैं तो उनसे आप कांटेक्ट कर सकते हो फॉर द इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस. बट उसके लिए मतलब यू डोंट हैव टू प्रिपेयर रेगुलरली फॉर 1 or 2 years. तुम 2 हफ्ते कुछ भी पढ़ोगे मतलब ईजी है उसके इंटरव्यूज निकालना. सो डू अप्लाई फॉर इट. वो एक अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी है.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
हेलो. या मेरे 2 क्वेश्चन है. पहला तो ये है कि जैसे हमें रिज्यूमे पे अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स डालने होते हैं तो उसमें एक लिंक प्रोवाइड करना होता है टू शोकेस योर प्रोजेक्ट. बट इन माय केस मैं दोनों में से कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट शोकेस नहीं कर सकता क्योंकि पहला प्रोजेक्ट मेरा इंटर्नशिप का था जो मैंने बैक एंड डेवलप किया था, सर्वलेस बैक एंड अपने स्टार्टअप के लिए जहाँ पे मैं कर रहा था. दूसरा था एक ट्रेडिंग ऑटोमेशन स्क्रिप्ट, वो एक फ्रीलांसिंग प्रोजेक्ट था. तो लाइक शुड आई नॉट, मतलब इस केस में क्या करना चाहिए कि मुझे लिंक प्रोवाइड नहीं करना चाहिए ऐसा कुछ, या उनको रिज्यूमे पे ही नहीं डालना चाहिए. दूसरा क्वेश्चन है मेरा लैंग्वेज से रिलेटेड कि अगर मैं डीएसए कर रहा हूँ, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट सीपी, डीएसए, तो मैं डीएसए C++ में ही करूँ या जावास्क्रिप्ट में कर सकता हूँ? कोई कंपनी ऐसी है जो रिस्ट्रिक्ट करती है लैंग्वेज? Yeah.
Yeah, mic on.
Audible.
Yeah, regarding project तो definitely like even if you cannot showcase the links, मतलब I think internship का कोई भी showcase नहीं कर पाता, so that you put in your work experience and like the HR do not expect you to put a working link for it. You can explain it in detail, मतलब just do not put generic things into it कि back end मतलब I'm just saying कि ऐसे develop करा, उसको आप थोड़ा पर्सनलाइज करो, थोड़ा स्पेसिफिक करो कि व्हाट वाज योर स्पेसिफिक रोल इन इट एंड देन द टेक स्टैक्स यू यूज्ड, सो दैट वुड बी कन्विंसिंग. मतलब अगर आपने वैसे भी इंटर्नशिप करा तो यू वुड हैव अ सर्टिफिकेट, कंप्लीशन सर्टिफिकेट या कुछ, उसका आप लिंक वहां पर प्रोवाइड कर सकते हो, सो दैट वर्क्स. मतलब ना मेंशन करना आई थिंक इज नॉट अ गुड आइडिया, डेफिनेटली डू मेंशन इट. With respect to language, I think Arijit was mentioning he coded in JavaScript, so I think he can tell more about it.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, definitely. Language doesn't even matter. The only company which is restricting you to code in JavaScript is if you're applying for a front-end engineer role at Meta. That company restricts you. I interviewed for the front-end engineer role at Amazon Dublin. I coded in JavaScript, whereas yeah, I think Rahul coded in any other language which was not in JavaScript. So language doesn't even matter. Code in any of the language in which you are confident for and continue it with that.
Actually, I was thinking about JavaScript because मैं आगे blockchain में जाने की सोच रहा था कि I was thinking to pursue blockchain और उसमें JavaScript का काफी ज्यादा रोल है. और क्योंकि मैं blockchain में जा रहा हूँ तो मेरे को Solidity पे भी थोड़ी एक्सपर्टीज करनी पड़ेगी. अब मैं इसके साथ साथ C++ पे भी ध्यान दूंगा तो बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा. That's why I was thinking कि मैं JavaScript में करता हूँ और JavaScript is something जिसमें मैं काफी कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ. उसमें मेरे को काफी अच्छे से लो लेवल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पता है, इवेंट लूप वगैरह, एसिंक्रोनस प्रोग्रामिंग, उसमें मैं कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ. तो इसलिए मैं पूछ रहा था और हाँ, क्योंकि वो C++ से स्लो है तो ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं होगा कि मेरे चांसेस कम हो जाएंगे.
लाइक ऑनलाइन टेस्ट वगैरह में तो आई थिंक इतना कुछ मैटर नहीं करता कुछ. आई डोंट थिंक कि सबमिशन टाइम मैटर करता है कि कितने टाइम में तुम्हारा कोड रन करा वगैरह. बट एक चीज़ है कि सिंस यू मेंशन दैट जावास्क्रिप्ट में है और वन ऑफ द टॉपिक्स विच इज रेगुलरली बीइंग आस्क्ड इन द इंटरव्यूज इज oops. If your the difficulty which I faced in interviews was that ki object oriented programming is very in JavaScript is very different from languages like C++ and Java. तो इंटरव्यूअर को समझाने में बहुत डिफिकल्टी होती है. सो व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू इज कि ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड प्रोग्रामिंग मतलब C++ तो यार जावा कोई ना कोई तो आनी चाहिए. ऑन द अदर हैंड जावास्क्रिप्ट तुम ऑन द टॉप ऑफ इट पढ़ सकते हो. और लाइक मोरलेस अगर तुम लीड कोड प्रॉब्लम्स की बात कर रहे हो मैंने लाइक 50% मैंने लीड कोड प्रॉब्लम्स C++ में कर रखे हैं, देन 50% मैंने जावास्क्रिप्ट में कर रखे हैं. फॉर नाउ लाइक अभी मैं टोटली जावास्क्रिप्ट में कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि एज सच C++ का मुझे कोई यूज केस दिखता नहीं है क्योंकि मैं आई एम मोर इनटू फ्रंट एंड डेवलपमेंट एंड डेवलपमेंट. सो आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू डेवलपमेंट वाया C++. सो टू बी ऑनेस्ट लैंग्वेज इफ यू आर लाइकिंग जावास्क्रिप्ट डू इट. बट जो मेजर कॉन्सेप्ट्स है कॉमन कॉन्सेप्ट्स लाइक जो हर लैंग्वेज में होते हैं एंड इट इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम जावास्क्रिप्ट, तो वो समझाने में इंटरव्यू को थोड़ी दिक्कत होती है. तो इट्स बेटर टू लाइक अगर इससे किसी ने इनहेरिटेंस पूछ लिया जावास्क्रिप्ट में वो अलग ही इनहेरिटेंस होता है. तो और एंड द इंटरव्यू इज एक्सपेक्टिंग यू टू लाइक टेल अ डिफरेंट डेफिनेशन ऑफ inheritance respect to C++ and Java. So you will have to code it in Java or C++. That is the thing. मतलब एक्स्ट्रा काम ही करना पड़ेगा अगर तुम जावास्क्रिप्ट के साथ कर रहे हो तो.
नहीं, ओप्स के कॉन्सेप्ट्स तो मेरे आई थिंक क्लियर ही है क्योंकि हमने सी प्लस प्लस अभी करी थी हमारे. मैं एक्चुअली अभी सेकेंड ईयर मेरा कंप्लीट होने वाला है. ओप्स के कंसेप्ट क्लियर है. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि मैंने उसमें कोड बहुत ज्यादा किया है, बट जो कंसेप्ट्स होते हैं जितने भी वो क्लियर है. तो कैन आई गो फॉर जावास्क्रिप्ट नाउ?
Definitely, like there's no issue in Java, like coding in any of the language, JavaScript low. I've seen people coding in Go as well. तो like it doesn't even matter at the end कि तुम समझा कैसे रहे हो इंटरव्यूअर को और तुम्हारी अप्रोच कैसी है, that matters. Language से I don't think you will get any plus points or any drawback for anything.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Hello, my question is that many companies like Zomato and Intuit, they hire only through reference. So how to approach them? Because whenever I see their post on LinkedIn, just 15 to 20 minutes, there are 1,000 plus comments on their post. So how do they filter them and how can I increase my chances to get a referral from them?
Like one of the best websites to lately I found a very of the good website to get a referral is that teamblind.com. It is like a social networking anonymous platform to get referrals and like ask interview experience of different people. So that is one of the things that I found it like the probability of getting a referral via LinkedIn versus Teamblind is the on Teamblind it is more and more higher because on LinkedIn a lot of people reach out to a lot of guys and so इतने मतलब LinkedIn पे इतने requests आते हैं लोगों के पास, so it's very hard to like give referrals to each and everyone. So I would suggest कि teamblind.com करके एक ऐप है वो डाउनलोड करो. You will just only need to have a work email ID for that. Once you have that work email ID, you have like simply you can just post like you can just simply post a post that okay I am interested in these positions and this is my profile, and you will just need to tag those companies or employees from those companies will comment out ki okay DM me and then you will just reach out to them and they will provide you a referral. Talking about LinkedIn specifically, what I used to do was that कुछ कंपनी जैसे हॉटस्टार हो गई, जोमेटो हो गई, स्विगी हो गई, ग्रोफर्स हो गई वगैरह वगैरह, what I used to do is before hiring season, hiring what the main drawback is that the main mistake what most people do is that जब opening दिखती है तब we start connecting with people. सिंस यू आर अवेयर ऑफ दैट नंबर ऑफ कंपनीज कौन कौन सी अवेलेबल हैं, तुम क्या कर सकते हो कि 6 महीने पहले से स्टार्ट कनेक्टिंग विद एटलीस्ट 5 to 10 पीपल ऑफ एवरी कंपनी. जब भी कोई ओपनिंग आई, इंस्टेड ऑफ कि तुम फर्स्ट टाइम कनेक्शन भेज रहे हो देन यू आर वो एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं फिर तुम उनको उनसे मांग रहे हो रेफरल, इट्स बेस्ट दैट कि तुम थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन लेके पहले ही 6 महीने पहले कनेक्ट कर लो उनसे. सो वेन एवर द ओपनिंग इज देयर यू विल जस्ट नीड टू डीएम देम एंड उसके बाद तुम्हें रेफरल दे देंगे. दिस वॉज द अप्रोच विच आई यूज्ड टू फॉलो.
Also, like whenever you see a post जिसमें 1000 कमेंट हो चुके हैं तो like do not budge that person. आपको एक बार ओपनिंग किसी कंपनी की पता चल गई तो like do not try to message people who are like more sort of influencers या जिनके बहुत ज़्यादा connections है. Obviously उनको spam भी उतना ज़्यादा आता होगा और एक organization में you will find many other people जो बहुत थोड़ा low की profile रखते हैं LinkedIn पे and then उनका भी referral like matters as much as any other person in that organization. So like you can target those people.
We will have the last question. Then we'll end this.
I have a TCS offer letter, so should I accept it or not? They have given me a 7 days time.
Sorry, what offer?
I have a TCS offer letter.
Okay.
I have to respond them in 7 days whether I'm taking it or not.
Okay.
So what should I do?